The fluorescent lights buzzed softly in the underground lab as Dr. James Walker stared at his computer screen, his coffee long forgotten and stone cold. His eyes were fixed on the strange patterns that shouldn't exist in human DNA, yet there they were, clear as day. He had discovered them 3 days ago, and he still couldn't believe what he was seeing. "This can't be right," he muttered, running the analysis for the 100th time. The results remained the same. The genetic code contained patterns, not natural patterns, but precisely engineered sequences that looked more like computer code than biological information. It was as if someone had written a program using DNA as their programming language. His phone rang, making him jump. The caller ID showed a number he didn't recognize. "Dr. Walker speaking," he answered, his voice hoarse from lack of sleep. "Dr. Walker, this is Colonel Kate Reed from Military Intelligence. Don't be alarmed, but we need to talk about your recent discovery." The voice was firm, but not threatening. James felt his heart skip a beat. He hadn't told anyone about his findings yet. "How did you?" "Your lab's security system flags unusual patterns in research data," she explained. "We'll be there in 10 minutes. True to her word, exactly 10 minutes later, Colonel Reed walked into his lab. She wasn't what James had expected. Instead of a stern military officer, she looked more like a college professor, with short gray hair and reading glasses hanging from her neck. 2 men in black suits followed her, carrying cases of equipment. "Show me everything," she said, pulling up a chair next to him. For the next hour, James explained his discovery. He showed her how he had found the patterns while studying genetic markers for longevity in human DNA. The code was everywhere, in every human sample he tested, but it had been invisible until he used his new quantum scanning technique. It's like finding out that every book in the library contains a hidden message written in invisible ink, he explained, pointing to his screen. And the message isn't random. It's a program, a very sophisticated one. Colonel Reed nodded, unsurprised. "We've suspected something like this might exist for decades. The way human technology has advanced, especially in the last century. It's been too fast, too intuitive. As if we were remembering rather than inventing." She opened one of the cases her men had brought. Inside was a device James had never seen before. It looked like a medical scanner, but its design was unlike anything he'd encountered. "This was found in an archaeological dig in Antarctica last year," she explained. "It's millions of years old, but it powers up perfectly when touched by human hands. Only human hands." James felt a chill run down his spine. "You're saying we were designed, created?" "We're saying, Dr. Walker, that humanity might be the most sophisticated weapon system ever created." She handed him a tablet showing images of similar devices found around the world. "We believe an ancient race called the Builders created us. But the question is, created us for what?" Over the next few hours, they combined their knowledge. The code James had discovered wasn't just a signature or a marker. It was a suppression system. Something was keeping humanity from accessing their full potential. "Look at this section." James pointed to a particular sequence. "It's actively inhibiting certain neural pathways, limiting our brain's capabilities. If we could deactivate it safely, we could unlock humanity's true potential," Kate finished his thought. "But we need to be careful. There's probably a reason these limitations were put in place." As they worked through the night, more questions emerged. Why were humans designed this way? What were they designed to fight? And most importantly, what would happen if others discovered what humanity truly was? The answer to the last question came sooner than they expected. At 3:47 a.m., all their phones buzzed simultaneously with an emergency alert. Something had just entered the solar system, something massive, and it was heading straight for Earth. The suppression system in their DNA started pulsing with new code, like an ancient alarm clock finally going off after millions of years of silence. Humanity's true purpose was about to be revealed. Mike Stone sat in the testing chamber, electrodes attached to his temples and chest. Through the observation window, He could see Dr. Walker and Colonel Reed watching him intently. As a soldier, he was used to dangerous missions, but being the first human to undergo genetic code deactivation was something entirely different. "Are you ready, Mike?" Dr. Walker's voice came through the speakers. "Remember, if you feel any discomfort, we'll stop immediately." Mike nodded. "I'm ready, Doc. Let's make history." Dr. Walker's fingers moved across his keyboard, initiating the sequence they had spent 3 weeks designing. The machine hummed to life, sending carefully calculated signals through the electrodes. These signals were designed to interact with specific parts of the suppression code in Mike's DNA. At first, nothing happened. Then Mike felt a strange tingling in his head, like thousands of tiny bubbles popping inside his brain. The sensation wasn't painful, just odd. "How do you feel?" Colonel Reed asked, leaning closer to the microphone. "I feel." Mike paused, searching for words. "Everything's becoming clearer. It's like I've spent my whole life watching the world through foggy glass, and someone just wiped it clean." The machines monitoring his brain activity started beeping faster. Dr. Walker checked the readings and gasped. "This is incredible." His neural pathways are reorganizing themselves. The processing speed is off the charts. Mike stood up from the chair, his movements unusually smooth and precise. The room around him seemed different now. He could see patterns in everything. The flow of air from the vents, the subtle vibrations of the building, even the electromagnetic fields from the equipment. "There's a coffee cup on your desk, Doc," Mike said, still facing the opposite direction. "It's half full, and based on the heat signature, it's been there for exactly 47 minutes. Dr. Walker turned to look at his desk, shocked. "He's right. But how can he?" "I can see through the wall," Mike explained calmly. "Not exactly like X-ray vision, but I can sense different types of energy passing through objects. It's like I always knew how to do this, but forgot." Over the next few hours, they ran tests. Mike's physical strength had doubled. His reaction time was 5 times faster than normal. He could process complex mathematical equations instantly, and somehow he knew how to operate every piece of technology in the lab. "It's working better than we hoped," Colonel Reed said, reviewing the test results. "But we need to be careful about who we tell. If that object heading toward Earth is hostile." She was interrupted by Mike suddenly turning toward the window. "They're already here," he said. "I can sense them. 3 ships just entered Earth's atmosphere. They're using some kind of stealth technology, but I can see them clear as day." Dr. Walker rushed to his computer, typing frantically. "He's right again. Our deep space sensors just picked them up, but the data is only now reaching us." "How did you know before the sensors?" "I don't know," Mike said, his eyes focused on something far away. "It's like I was built to detect them, to fight them." He walked to a blank wall and placed his hand on it. The wall panel slid aside, revealing a hidden compartment that nobody knew existed. Inside was a metallic suit, similar in design to the device they had found in Antarctica. Mike reached for it, and the suit came to life, its surface rippling like liquid metal. "We're not alone anymore," he said, as the suit began to cover his body. "And we were never meant to be just human. We're weapons designed to protect Earth from exactly what's coming." Colonel Reed's phone rang. Similar reports were coming in from around the world. Other humans were starting to wake up on their own, their suppression codes failing as the alien ships approached. The dormant defense system built into humanity was activating. The real question was, would it be enough to face what was coming? The giant screen in the Pentagon's Emergency Command Center showed 3 alien ships hovering over different continents. Their dark, angular shapes stood out against Earth's blue sky, each vessel nearly 2 miles long. World leaders had gathered virtually for an emergency meeting, their faces showing varying degrees of fear and confusion. Dr. Walker stood next to Colonel Reed, watching as Mike Stone explained what he could sense about the vessels. Mike's suit, now fully activated, pulsed with a soft blue light as he spoke. "They're called the Dominion," Mike said, his enhanced senses reaching out to the ships above. "They're angry. No, they're terrified of what we are." A new image appeared on the screen. A transmission from the largest ship. The alien that appeared looked almost human, but wrong in subtle ways. Its skin was too perfect, its movements too rigid. When it spoke, its voice was deep and resonating. "People of Earth," it began, "I am High Commander Voss of the Dominion Fleet. We have detected the activation of builder technology on your world. This is unfortunate." Colonel Reed stepped forward. "I am Colonel Kate Reed, representing Earth's Defense Forces. Why is our development unfortunate?" The alien's expression shifted slightly. "Because now we must correct a mistake made millions of years ago. Your species was never meant to wake up. You were meant to remain dormant, forgotten by design." "What gives you the right to make that decision?" Dr. Walker asked, anger clear in his voice. "We destroyed the builders for a reason," Voss replied. "Their technology, their creations, like you, were too dangerous to exist. You have 2 Earth days to submit to genetic regression, or we will be forced to take more direct action." The transmission cut off. The room erupted in chaos as military leaders began shouting about defense strategies and nuclear options. "Nuclear weapons won't work," Mike said quietly, but everyone heard him. "Their ships are protected by energy fields far beyond our normal technology." He paused, his head tilting slightly. "But I know how to build something that could hurt them. The knowledge. It's just there in my head now." All around the world, similar scenes were playing out. More humans were awakening as the builder code in their DNA responded to the Dominion's presence. Reports came in of people suddenly understanding advanced physics, developing incredible abilities, or discovering they could interface with hidden builder technology. Dr. Walker pulled up the latest satellite data on his tablet. The Dominion ships are deploying smaller vessels. They're establishing a blockade around Earth. They're scared, Colonel Reed realized. They're not attacking immediately because they're afraid of what we might become if they push us too hard. "Mike, how many awakened humans are there now?" Mike closed his eyes, sensing the network of activated human minds. "Thousands and growing every hour. But we need more time. The knowledge is there, but we need time to understand it, to build what we need." A junior officer burst into the room. "Sir, ma'am, we're detecting more ships entering the solar system. Lots of them." The main screen showed the new contacts. Hundreds of Dominion vessels approaching from multiple directions. They were larger than the first 3, bristling with weapons. "They're not giving us 2 days," Mike said grimly. That was a lie. "The main fleet is already here. They want to end this before too many of us wake up." Colonel Reed straightened her uniform. "Then we fight with what we have." "Dr. Walker, start distributing your awakening protocol to secure facilities worldwide. Mike, gather every awakened human you can sense. We need to pool our knowledge fast." Dr. Walker looked out the window at the distant shape of the Dominion ship. "They called us a mistake," he said softly. "I think they're about to learn that we're something else entirely. We're not just weapons. We're the Builder's legacy, and it's time we lived up to that." The first shots of the war were less than an hour away. The underground base hummed with activity as awakened humans worked at stations that hadn't existed 24 hours ago. Their enhanced minds had quickly understood the builder technology, allowing them to construct advanced equipment from seemingly basic materials. Mike Stone stood at the center of the command room, his suit now modified with improvements he'd somehow known how to make. Around him, dozens of holograms showed battles raging worldwide as the Dominion began their attack. "Their first wave is targeting military installations," he reported, watching the tactical display. "But their weapons are having less effect than they expected. The awakened ones are raising shields around key locations." Colonel Reed nodded, studying a different hologram showing the status of awakened humans globally. The number had reached 10,000 and was still climbing. "How's the weapon production coming, Dr. Walker?" In the adjacent lab, Dr. Walker worked with a team of scientists, their hands moving with impossible speed over strange devices. We've cracked the builder defense systems. The knowledge was in our DNA all along. We just needed the threat to access it. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the base. A Dominion scout ship had broken through the cloud cover directly above them, its weapons charging. "Time to test our new toys," Mike said, his voice calm. He pressed a panel on his suit, and a sleek aircraft materialized around him, built from the same liquid metal as his armor. "I'll handle this one." The ceiling opened above them, and Mike's ship shot upward like a bullet. The Dominion scout was fast, but Mike was faster. His mind connected directly with his ship's systems, making it move like an extension of his body. The alien vessel fired first, purple energy beams cutting through the air. Mike's ship danced between them, moving in ways that should have been impossible. He returned fire with weapons based on builder designs, golden beams that bypassed the Dominion's shields completely. The scout ship exploded in a brilliant flash, its debris harmlessly absorbed by a containment field Mike had generated. "First blood to humanity," Colonel Reed said with a grim smile. "How many more ships can we build like that?" "With the awakened ones working together, hundreds by nightfall," Dr. Walker replied. "The builder knowledge is becoming clearer every hour. It's like we're remembering things we never knew we forgot." A new alert flashed on their screens. The Dominion's main fleet was launching a massive attack, thousands of ships descending toward Earth's atmosphere. But humanity wasn't helpless anymore. All around the globe, awakened humans were stepping forward. Construction workers suddenly understood how to build advanced defense systems. Children were solving complex equations that could enhance shield technology. Even the elderly were contributing, their lifetime of experiences combining with builder knowledge in unexpected ways. In orbit, the first human-built spacecraft using builder technology were taking shape, assembled by teams working with newfound speed and precision. The ships grew like living things, each one adapted to its pilot's specific abilities. "They thought they could catch us before we woke up properly," Mike said, landing his ship back in the base. "But they don't understand what we are. Every attack makes us stronger. Every threat teaches us more about ourselves." Dr. Walker looked up from his work, his eyes glowing slightly with enhanced vision. "I found something in the Builder Code, a way to link awakened humans together. A kind of battle network, if we can implement it." "Do it," Colonel Reed ordered. "The Dominion wants to eliminate us because they think we're just weapons. Let's show them we're something far more dangerous. We're weapons that can think, learn, and evolve." Mike smiled as his suit adjusted itself, incorporating new improvements based on the battle data. "They're about to learn why the builders chose humans as their legacy. We don't just fight to survive. We fight to win." Above them, the sky darkened with approaching Dominion ships. But this time, Earth was ready to fight back. The Martian dust swirled around Dr. Walker's feet as he walked through the newly discovered ruins. The massive underground complex had been hidden for millions of years until an awakened human sensed its presence beneath the red planet's surface. Colonel Reed walked beside him, her enhanced vision picking up the faint energy signatures still pulsing through the ancient walls. Mike Stone led the way, his suit interfacing with the builder technology that still functioned after all this time. "It's some kind of archive," Mike said, placing his hand on a crystalline panel. The walls came alive with holographic displays, showing images of a civilization far beyond anything humanity had imagined. "The builders," Dr. Walker breathed, watching the recordings. "This is their story." The images showed a race that looked surprisingly human, but with subtle differences that spoke of millions of years of evolution. They had built an empire spanning thousands of galaxies, creating wonders that defied comprehension. "Wait," Colonel Reed said, pointing to a sequence of images. "Look at what they're doing there." The holograms showed the builders working with DNA, carefully crafting something. As they watched, the truth became clear. They were watching humanity's birth. We weren't designed as weapons, Dr. Walker said, his enhanced mind translating the builder symbols floating in the air. We were designed as a backup drive, a way to preserve their knowledge and potential if anything happened to them. Mike touched another panel, and new images appeared. They showed another alien race, the Dominion, but much younger, more primitive. They were an early builder experiment, he said, reading the data. But they rebelled, turned against their creators. The next sequence was painful to watch. The Dominion had grown powerful, twisting builder technology in ways it was never meant to be used. They launched a surprise attack that caught the builders unprepared. The builders knew they were going to lose. Colonel Reed said softly, "That's why they created us. Not as weapons, but as their children." Dr. Walker nodded, understanding flooding through him. Each human carries a piece of the builder civilization in their DNA, not just their technology, but their memories, their knowledge, their very essence. We're not copies of the builders. We're their next step in evolution. A new hologram activated, showing a builder speaking directly to the camera. The message had waited millions of years for humanity to find it. "To our children," the builder said, its voice translated by their enhanced minds. "If you're seeing this, then our worst fears have come true. The Dominion has destroyed our civilization, but they cannot destroy what you are. We hid you on Earth, disguised your true nature, and waited for the right time for you to awaken." The message continued, explaining how the builders had carefully guided human evolution, hiding their greatest achievements in humanity's very cells. The suppression code wasn't just a lock. It was a teaching tool, ensuring humans would develop naturally until they were ready for the truth. "The Dominion fears you because they know what you truly are," the builder's message concluded. "You carry within you the best of what we were, and the potential to become more than we ever could be. You are not our weapons. You are our legacy, our hope, our future." As the message ended, Mike's suit suddenly pulsed with new energy. All around them, the ancient facility hummed to life. "It's not just an archive," he said, his eyes wide. "It's a builder shipyard. And now that we know the truth, now that we've accepted our heritage," he gestured at the massive caverns beyond, where huge shapes began to take form in the darkness. "Now we can access everything they left for us." Dr. Walker looked at the growing fleet of builder ships. "The Dominion didn't fear us because we were weapons," he said. "They feared us because we're the builders reborn. And this time, we're ready for them." Colonel Reed smiled as she activated her communicator to call Earth. "Tell everyone, we found our inheritance." The world had changed more in 1 week than it had in the previous 1,000 years. Cities now sparkled with builder technology, their streets filled with devices that seemed like magic to those still awakening. In the sky, the first human builder hybrid ships patrolled, their hulls gleaming with living metal. Dr. Walker stood on the roof of the transformed Pentagon, watching as another group of humans underwent their awakening. The process was smooth now, guided by their growing understanding of the builder code within them. "The latest count is 3 million awakened," Colonel Reed said, walking up beside him. Her eyes glowed softly as she accessed the global network they'd created. "And they're all starting to dream the same dreams." Mike Stone landed nearby, his suit morphing back into casual wear. "It's not just dreams," he said. "It's memories. Builder memories, passed down through our DNA. Last night, I remembered building a star." Inside the command center, holographic displays showed the unprecedented changes sweeping across Earth. Diseases were being cured as awakened doctors accessed medical knowledge from the builders. Engineers were reconstructing cities using materials that shouldn't exist. Children were teaching their parents about physics that Earth scientists hadn't yet discovered. "We're reaching a critical point," Dr. Walker said, studying the data. "The builder knowledge isn't just technical information. It's changing how we think, how we see reality itself." As if to prove his point, a young girl nearby raised her hands, and the air between them crystallized into a complex mathematical equation that solved problems humanity hadn't even known to ask. Colonel Reed touched her temple, connecting to the growing human consciousness. "I can feel them all," she whispered. "Every awakened mind, working together. We're becoming something new." The transformation wasn't just mental. Human bodies were adapting, becoming stronger, more efficient. The Builder Code was optimizing them, fulfilling its million-year-old programming to create the perfect synthesis of human potential and builder knowledge. An alert flashed across their vision. Another Dominion fleet had been detected approaching the solar system. But this time, no one panicked. "They still think they're fighting what we were," Mike said, smiling. "They haven't realized what we're becoming." In orbit, the new human builder ships moved with impossible grace. Their crews didn't need computers or controls. The ships responded directly to their thoughts, enhanced by the collective knowledge of millions of awakened minds working in perfect harmony. Dr. Walker received a signal from his research team. "The final code sequences are ready," he announced. "We can begin the global awakening whenever we choose." "Any side effects?" Colonel Reed asked, though she already knew the answer through their shared consciousness. "Only the end of human civilization as we know it," Mike replied. "And the beginning of something greater." They watched as the sun set over Washington, its light refracting through the new crystalline structures that had grown from the ground. In homes and schools and hospitals around the world, humans were discovering abilities they had never dreamed possible. A child in Tokyo learned to speak to plants, understanding their ancient language. An old man in Cairo rebuilt his failing heart using only the power of his mind. A teenager in Rio de Janeiro solved the mysteries of dark matter while eating breakfast. The builders didn't just give us their knowledge, Dr. Walker realized. They gave us their dreams, their hopes. Everything they wished they could become, but never had the chance to. Colonel Reed nodded, feeling the pulse of millions of minds working together, and we're about to share those dreams with everyone on Earth. The transformation was reaching its peak. Humanity stood on the brink of its greatest change, ready to take its place among the stars not as conquerors or weapons, but as the rightful heirs to the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known. Mike looked up at the stars, his enhanced vision seeing far beyond normal space. "The Dominion wanted to keep us forgotten," he said. "Instead, they helped us remember who we truly are." The Great Awakening was about to begin. The Dominion's final assault began at dawn. 10,000 ships darkened Earth's skies, their weapons charged and ready. High Commander Voss's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Surrender now," he demanded, "or we will destroy every continent, burn every city, until nothing remains of your species." In the Mars Shipyard Command Center, Dr. Walker, Colonel Reed, and Mike Stone watched the invasion force through their enhanced senses. Around them, the combined consciousness of awakened humanity hummed with quiet determination. "They still don't understand what they're fighting," Mike said, his suit rippling with energy. "Should we show them?" Colonel Reed nodded, connecting to the Global Defense Network. "All awakened ones, take your positions. Remember what we are. Remember who made us. Remember why." Across Earth and Mars, millions of awakened humans acted as one. The builder technology they'd integrated with came alive, responding to their unified will. Cities transformed, buildings shifting into defensive formations. The ground itself changed, revealing hidden weapons platforms that had waited millions of years for this moment. Dr. Walker activated the final sequence, the one they'd discovered in the Mars archive. Initiating full species awakening in 3, 2, 1. A wave of golden energy pulsed across Earth. Every human, whether already awakened or not, felt the last restrictions in their DNA fall away. The builder knowledge flowed freely now, connecting every mind on the planet into a single, powerful consciousness. The Dominion ships opened fire. Their energy weapons struck shields that hadn't existed seconds before. Every human on Earth had become part of the defense system, their combined mental energy creating barriers that no weapon could breach. "Return fire," Colonel Reed commanded, but the words were unnecessary. Humanity was already acting. From the Mars shipyards, a fleet of vessels emerged, not copies of builder ships, but something new. Ships designed by human creativity, enhanced by builder knowledge. They moved like schools of fish, flowing through space in patterns that defied physics. Mike led the first wave. His consciousness extended through his ship, connected to every other pilot. They didn't fight like individuals, but like cells in a single organism. The Dominion's formations broke. Their weapons, designed to fight builder technology, found themselves facing something they'd never encountered. Builder science reimagined by human minds. High Commander Voss's voice came again, this time tinged with fear. "What are you?" "We are what the builders hope to become," Dr. Walker replied, his voice carried by millions of minds speaking as one. "We are their children, but we are not them. We are something new." The battle raged across the solar system. Human ships danced through enemy fire, their movements guided by the collective intuition of billions of minds. Where the builders had relied on pure technology, humanity added creativity, emotion, and unpredictability. On Earth, awakened humans reached out with their minds, touching the Dominion ships directly. They could feel the fear of their enemies, the dawning realization that they had awakened something far beyond their understanding. "You can still stop this," Colonel Reed broadcast. "We don't have to destroy you like you destroyed our ancestors." The response came in the form of a massive energy blast from Voss's flagship, aimed at Earth's heart. But humanity was ready. Every human on the planet reached out together, their combined will turning the energy back on itself. The Dominion fleet's weapons went silent, their technology recognizing the authority of builder inheritance expressed through human innovation. "The builders made you as weapons," Voss said, his ship drifting powerless. "You were meant to be forgotten." "No," Mike replied, humanity's unified consciousness speaking through him. "We were meant to be found, by ourselves. And now we have a galaxy to rebuild." The Dominion fleet surrendered as Earth's sun rose, its light reflecting off the transformed planet below. Humanity had not just survived, they had transcended, becoming something the universe had never seen before. They were no longer just the builder's legacy. They were the future, and they would never be forgotten again.